And then I get tired of fighting something, frustrated. You're worn out. You're not sure what you're going to do to recover. I had my stroke back in December of 2021. And man, I wasn't sure what I was going to do after that. It took a little bit, but I knew I was in a fighting mood, fighting spirit. But along the way, I've had 5 or 6 pretty big setbacks. And each one of those setbacks is kind of a fork in the road, or a marker in the road anyway, along your path, your journey, which you got to fight through. And sometimes you just wonder where you're going to get the courage to fight through. But right after the stroke, and it took weeks just to actually get up to that point up on the hill up there. It took quite a week or more just to get, and it was a couple of weeks after when I decided to just start going out with my wife, who was going around Holmes Lake, which is just on the other side of that dam ridge there. But it took weeks just to get up the hill and feel like I could get back down again. And that's just right there. What is that? 150 feet maybe? But anyway, you have these setbacks. And I'm not talking about getting up the hill as a setback, but about 5 months ago, I really just mashed my ankle in terribly. And that was probably the biggest setback of all after all these years, because I was going up there around the lake, which is, I'll call it 3 miles. It's not quite 3 miles that we walk every day. Basically, it's an hour and 10. And when I was really getting stronger, it was 55 minutes, 58 minutes or so. So you got all these markers in your head. You got all these numbers. You got all these accomplishments, things you can do. And you can do them, and you can improve on them a little. And you can kick it into a little higher gear, train a little harder. But then you got these things that come along and knock you down. And in our case, that broken ankle was terrible. And then the snowfall. I couldn't walk in the snow on here. I can't get up that hill with a damaged ankle. And so you have these setbacks in life. Could be financial, could be physical, could be mental. What do you do? How do you get back to the place where, what? I can't keep doing this. I got to do something different. And I call it hacking your mind and your body. And the way I've done it over the years is pretty simple. If I can't get out the door, then the next day I decide, well, I'm going to get up and walk 10 feet. And if I can't walk 10 feet, well, I'll move it down to 5 feet. And if I have some setback in the next week that puts me back to 5 feet or less, well, that's what I'll do. So it's a recalibration. It's not a giving in. It's not a quit. It's a recalibration. If you can only walk 5 feet today, walk that 5 feet. If you can only walk up the hill, up the dam, do that. And then take that as a baseline again. And this is a little hack in your mind, because your mind wants to go all for nothing. You want to go, well, I've been going around the lake. I've been doing this 3 miles every day. I can't do it anymore. And so I'll just quit. I'll just give up. And that's pretty common. That happens a lot. But my way of doing things is to start over at a new baseline and say, all right, I'll get up that hill today. Even if it's snowing out, or even if it's bad weather, I'll get up that hill. And that's all I need to do is get up that hill. So I come back down with a new baseline. And then I'll get up to that point up there, maybe next week. And that's Well, it's not quite a half mile, a little less than half mile. And then I'll come back and I'll put a mile on for that day. And then I'll go down to the end of the dam, and that's maybe a mile, not quite a mile. But I'll go there and I'll come back. And so I got 2 miles that day. Or I'll go some other way. But I'll set a new baseline each day while I'm trying to recover. And that hack has allowed me to not feel bad, not feel terrible, not feel guilty that I didn't make it all 3 miles around. That hack was a new way of, and I'm sure athletes do this all the time, especially if they get good trainers that know how much they can push themselves and how far is too far. So you become your own trainer, your own coach, I guess, and you decide, all right, what can I do today that I would push a little more than yesterday? My life kind of depends on getting out here and doing those 3 miles every day. After that stroke, I realized if I was going to live, and if I was going to, live to 80, 85, 90, which my wife and I both would like to live a long life, but we want to do it with some mobility and some joy and some pleasure in it, and we want to be able to do it with some strength and some endurance and some gusto. Honestly, we're not too crazy about living to 100 and just kind of sitting in a corner somewhere. That doesn't sound very good. You want to live with what we used to call in the chaplain work quality of life. Well, we want that too. And we want that for you. If you're watching, we want you to have a good, healthy quality of life, whether you're 20 or 80. Doesn't matter. What matters is that you take and recalibrate your days so that you can get back to restoring. And maybe one day you won't be able to walk around the lake. Well, you're going to have to recalibrate what makes for a good day. And some days won't be so good, and other days will be good. But it's a little hack that only you can do. And it's the one that has worked for me quite a bit. And being outside is a major hack. You got to get out of the house. You got to get outside if you're going to live and there are a number of writers that say you got to walk. Just read Thoreau, Walden's Pond, and some other authors. You got to walk. Nietzsche, I don't like Nietzsche's ideas, but a lot of them. But the guy walked. A lot of people have walked. The Amish walk everywhere they go. They get rides now, but a lot of them walk a lot. You got to get out and move outside, and you got to take your life out there to the place where it can be reinvigorated. It's pretty hard to do just staying inside. You can, but you got to do a lot of exercise or something, I think. So anyway, that's my hack, and I share it with you. Take and recalibrate when you're in the recovery mode and you have setbacks. Recalibrate, start over, and then build. And if you're going to be competitive about it, compete with the previous day, the previous week, the previous month. Step it up just a little. Prove to yourself that you can improve and you can recover a little bit each day. And when you have another setback, and you will, I've had half a dozen or more big ones and a lot of little ones, and they just threaten you and they say, yeah, you don't need to get out of bed today. You don't need to walk 10 feet. You don't need to walk a mile. You don't need to walk around the lake. You don't need to. But in your heart, you know you should. And start over again. Start over small. Start over medium. And you'll eventually get back to big. That's my hack. Try it out. See what it does for you. See you later.